2017 was the best year ever for comic book movies. Not just because there were a lot of them, but because almost all of them were box office hits and well received by critics and fans alike. The year kicked off with the Lego Batman movie, one of the best interpretations of the character ever put on screen and a great celebration of all things Batman. 1 month later came Logan, a great deconstruction of the character and a wonderful send-off to not just Hugh Jackman's time as Wolverine, but to the X-Men franchise as a whole. Next was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, a great follow-up to the original and one of the more touching films of the year. And then Wonder Woman, a runaway success and a watershed moment not just for the superhero genre, but for action movies in general. Immediately after that is Spider-Man Homecoming. Not only is Marvel's best character finally in their cinematic universe, but Spider-Man finally has good movies again. After Spider-Man, Atomic Blonde. Bet you didn't know that was based on a comic book, did you? Well, it was, and it was one of the best post-John Wick action movies since the original John Wick, and it helps that one of the directors of John Wick also directed this movie, John Wick. And then in November, we got Thor Ragnarok, the best of the Thor movies, and proof that you shouldn't be afraid to go big, outlandish, and cartoonish with your superhero films. And finally, Justice League. Never said they were all winners here. So yeah, it was a very big year, and from the looks of it, 2018 is gonna be even bigger. A lot of comic book based movies are coming out this year, but I know you, like myself, don't really have a lot of time to go see all of them. So let's see if we can go through all of them and figure out which ones are going to be worth it. By my count, in 2018, there are going to be 11 major motion pictures based on comic book properties. The majority of them are Marvel films. 3 of them are from Marvel and Disney, and 3 of them are the remaining Fox X-Men movies. All but 1 of them is based on either a Marvel or a DC character. 11 is a lot. In 2017, we saw 7 comic book based movies comes out, and that's staggering in and of itself. When I was a kid, you would have been lucky if you saw 7 comic book movies over the course of 20 years. Now, this isn't to say that one of these films might get delayed or canceled or something like that, but let's work under the assumption that all 11 films are in fact coming out in 2018. Which ones do we go and see immediately, and which ones should we skip? Right out of the gate in February is Black Panther, which is good. Get the movie I'm most excited to see out of the way. This is the most excited I've been for a Marvel movie in some time. It just looks like it's going to have a unique style and voice that we haven't seen yet from the studio. That probably has a lot to do with the fact it has a predominantly black cast and creative team, and they're leaning heavily into the Afrofuturist aesthetic that Wakanda needs. It's just nice to see not only something different, but also see a director put his noticeable stamp on a Marvel film and not have it get lost in the overall series. Skip ahead 2 months and we get The New Mutants, Fox's newest spin-off of his long-running X-Men franchise. Not these New Mutants, more the original New Mutants. This is the only New Mutants comic I have. This one is getting a lot of buzz for going for more of a horror movie feel than a typical superhero movie. It's not a bad move per se. Taking the X-Men in this direction is a nice change of pace and a great way to shake things up for this long-running franchise. But while making it a horror movie will certainly set it apart from the other X-Men films, will the fact that there are mutants in this movie help set it apart from other haunted house films? I'm iffy on this one. The whole haunted house idea locked up in an asylum is cool sounding, but I don't know. I think I might have to wait for another trailer before I start giving a better judgment. Right now, it just looks meh. Like teenagers in a haunted house. And then in May, we get Avengers Infinity War, the one you've all been waiting for. This is the culmination of everything Marvel has been building to ever since Iron Man came out in 2008. After 10 years, we finally get to see Thanos come in and kick everybody's ass and use the Infinity Gauntlet. It is hands down the most anticipated movie of 2018, and you should definitely go see it. However, I don't know if this movie is going to be worth it for anybody who isn't already invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, that may seem insane to you. Who isn't already invested in this 20-film series that's been going on for over a decade? Well, A lot of people actually. Yes, it'll be the payoff to years of storytelling, but if you haven't seen most or all of the films by this point, is it gonna be worth it to you? Obviously, go see it if you're neck deep in the Marvel films already. If you're not, maybe you wait for one of your nerdier friends to come and tell you whether or not you'll get lost. So yeah, that's my honest opinion. Infinity War might not be right for you. And a month later comes Deadpool 2, a movie that might also not be right for you. This is the sequel to everybody's favorite R-rated superhero movie, which means we will definitely be getting more foul language, more gratuitous violence, more everything. This time, however, we have a new director. Taking over from Tim Miller is David Leitch, who also directed Atomic Blonde, so you know not only will the action be ramped up, it will look spectacular. Also, Cable's gonna be in it. If you care. I don't. Now, 2 weeks after Deadpool 2 is The Incredibles 2. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no, The Incredibles is not based on a comic book. It's not part of the 11 comic book movies I mentioned before, but I'm bringing it up here for 2 reasons. One, we've never gotten a great Fantastic Four movie outside of the original Incredibles, and it's high time we got something close to that. And 2, I love the first movie. And 2 weeks after The Incredibles 2, we get Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I honestly think that the first Ant-Man movie is the most underrated Marvel film. It's not the best, and I certainly think it would have been better had Edgar Wright stuck around and actually directed the thing. But I feel like we did get glimpses of what Edgar Wright wanted to do in the first movie, and if they can keep that tone and style consistent in this one, I think it has a chance of being in the top tier Marvel films. Plus, it'd be nice to see the Wasp actually on the big screen for once. She's one of Marvel's most important characters, and she's the one who named the team the Avengers. So Ant-Man and the Wasp will be July 6th. On July 20th, we get Alita: Battle Angel, the sole non-Marvel or DC comic book movie of 2018. This is based on the long-running manga series by Yukito Kishiro. James Cameron has actually been trying to get this movie made for almost as long as he's been trying to get Avatar made. In 2015, he gave director duties to Robert Rodriguez, which for me pretty much makes this an instant must-see. Rodriguez is one of my favorite directors, and to me, anything he does is worth keeping an eye on. I don't really know much about Alita. I know that this is kind of an Americanization of another manga, which is a touchy subject, especially now in a post-Ghost in the Shell world. But I think if anyone can pull it off, it's definitely the team of Cameron and Rodriguez. Rodriguez is a fan of pretty much everything, and he's shown that he can make faithful comic book adaptations work. And Cameron isn't an idiot. He wouldn't have signed off on something like this if he didn't think he could do it justice. Also, I think her weird eyes look fine. Fight me. 1 week after Alita, we get our next comic book movie, Teen Titans Go! The motion picture. Dead serious. Look, if you like the show, then by all means, go see this movie. But just before you do, ask yourself, each episode is 11 minutes long. Can they possibly stretch that to 90? I mean, I all know what we'd rather see a motion picture of, but that's not the world we live in. But after that, we get a break. No new comic book movies for August or September, but on October 5th, Venom. I've already said before how I think this movie is a bad idea. I don't care that Tom Hardy is playing Eddie Brock. I'm sure he'll be a great Eddie Brock. But this is not a movie that needs to be made, especially if it has no connection to the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. Because Venom without Spider-Man isn't Venom. If anything, he's Haunt. Right? Exactly, you don't know who Haunt is. And then in November, we get X-Men Dark Phoenix. Much like Venom, I've already made my opinions very clear on how I'm not excited for this movie. To me, the X-Men films died with Logan, and this just looks like they're going back to the well to try and do a story they didn't do right the first time, with no guarantee that they're going to do it right this time. Maybe it'll work, maybe my mind will change once I see a trailer, who knows? All I know is, after I was disappointed with Apocalypse, I don't think I'm ready for another X-Men film in a similar vein. Then on December 14th is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is the first animated Spider-Man movie from Sony, and it's the big screen debut of the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. This actually looks really cool. I really like the animation style, and I think this will be a great way to introduce not only Miles Morales, but also the other Spider people like Silk, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, on and on and on. Maybe this will incorporate somehow into the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. This is being written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who have proven that they are masters of metatextual storytelling. Lego Movie, 21 Jump Street, Han Solo, never mind. And then to close out 2018 on December 21st, Aquaman. I think this movie will be okay. It's being directed by James Wan, who's a very good director, and I feel like it's distant enough from the Zack Snyder style of storytelling and movie making that has plagued the other DC films up until this point. It's sort of like Wonder Woman in that respect. Take a character and distance itself with a completely different crew and director and give it its own unique style. Unlike Wonder Woman, this isn't starring a character that instantly won me over from their very first appearance on screen. This is starring the radical, redesigned, rock star Aquaman that I just don't know if I'm into. Maybe this will start to lean more to the classic portrayal of the character that we're all used to. So far, all they've released of the movie, though, is pictures of Jason Momoa without a shirt on. If that's all you need, then you might enjoy this movie. Everyone else? And that's it. Every single comic book movie coming out in 2018, plus Incredibles 2 for good measure. Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet what you're excited for and what you're not excited for. You may have noticed that the bumper card didn't say comics, it said movies. I'm gonna be trying something a little different with this show through the course of the year. I'll have another video explaining it really soon. Of course, new videos every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. All of those debut on twitch.tv/wolfden at 10 a.m. They will go up on YouTube shortly thereafter. And every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube is Wolf Den Live. So make sure you subscribe to see all of that. Like this video and share with a friend who doesn't know what comic book movies to see or skip in 2018. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.